I have 3 boys, so that pretty much takes up most of my time. I'm a gigantic baseball fan, and I drag my kids around with me to various games. My middle son actually plays baseball. I also like quiet time. I like reading. I really enjoy my volunteer work that I do. I volunteer in my church, do everything from coffee hours to assisting with folks who are in need, in the community. So it's a wide variety of things. My name is Brian McEntire, and I'm a senior attorney in the Spiggle Law Firm. I'm a graduate of the George Mason University School of Law. I spent 22 years working as an attorney in the federal sector. The last 17 years of that, I worked as a trial attorney in the Civil Rights Division's Employment Litigation section in the Department of Justice. I went to law school not knowing if I was going to practice law. But while I was in law school, I went and clerked at a small firm that did employment law. And I quickly learned that that was a really interesting area of law where I could provide a lot of assistance to people who really needed help. Quite frankly, it also reminded me of a time when I was young and my dad had employment difficulties and he had a really bad employment law attorney. And so I realized that everyone needs good representation. There are so many folks out there who don't understand their rights under the law, and it was something that I wanted to pursue. When I was in that small firm and realized that I saw the number of people that were being helped by that, and I realized that there are a lot of people out there who need that representation who don't for a minute understand what their rights are, and if I could help them understand their rights and help them to get a good outcome, that was really a rewarding way to live. It was a fire department case that I worked on where there was discriminatory treatment towards a class of firefighters, and I was a little skeptical at first when I looked at their case, but as I dug deeper, I realized that there was much there in just talking to each individual and hearing their stories and hearing more and more how compelling their stories were. And I realized that I had brought my doubts into it before I really gave them the right consideration. And I realized at the end of the day, after I met with, oh goodness, the 7th, 8th person, that these people had very compelling stories to tell and that they wanted to fix systemic problems that were obvious within the department. And I think the most satisfying moment of my legal career is when we actually settled that case and the judge asked all of the individuals who had been helped to stand up in the courtroom, and there were about 30 or 40 folks in there. And I realized when I was standing there that if I had just not fully given their concerns consideration, they may not be in that place. It was just a very humbling and honor moment that I was honored to experience with them. I just want to be a resource and be helpful. Hopefully they maybe make them laugh a little bit. Someone who will be friendly, but also will be someone who'll give them assistance and someone who they feel they can come to with any legal issue they can bounce off of. I like to think of myself as open and accommodating. The same philosophy with my clients was with my coworkers as well. My background is been really involved helping as many people as possible. My time with the Justice Department, I was really lucky in that I got to give lots of individuals assistance on a macro level with employment discrimination issues. And I wanted to continue that in the private sector. And in looking at the firms as I was interviewing, I realized that this was a firm that was willing to take a lot of chances on employees that I felt a lot of other firms wouldn't. I feel that everybody has a story, everybody has a right to be heard, and everyone has a right to know their legal rights. And this firm, more than any others, seemed to be most accommodating towards clients in letting them tell their story and try to find an outcome where they could be satisfied with the results. There's a lot of people with employment problems out there, and this firm seemed very attuned to that, and that really stuck with me.